Times were tough, so I sold my soul. And I don't think I'll ever regain control. Devil looked me in the eye and I looked the other way. What else could I do? I just stood at the doorway and knew I'd rather be drunk with you. I'd rather be drunk.
Hey Internet, Dracofunk here, and welcome back to my 100 subscriber special ride drive Rover train to the South Pole. And I mess up my delivery of that, but that's okay. As you can see, we are back on our way, traveling south, and it is another week, another leg of the journey, and this Rover train is moving. So this is hopefully a little more sane than last week. I was in a special place last week, and this week my throat's sore. I've had 2 cups of tea today to try and help with that, and I still, my throat's still sore, and I think it's just this time of year, which, it happens, and the best thing to do when your throat is sore is talk for, minutes on end. But, that's what I'm doing, because I set out on this journey to make it to the South Pole, and I'm trying to do that, which is a lot of driving. But you know what? I noticed today as I was driving and looking at the map that I am starting to be on the bottom half of the planet to the journey where I'm trying to get to. And it's starting to look like I'm kind of getting close, and that's it's good. This whole trip might be coming to an end. So yeah, I am still traveling, and this part of Kerbin is a little bit rougher. As you can see, I'm the suspension's getting some workout done, and there's a lot more ups and downs, and it's not quite as smooth, and yeah, it's a little bit. I can't go quite as fast because I have to keep slowing down because I don't want to, wreck. I keep saying a lot, but that's okay. I'm happy to be here. I am doing this now instead of watching the final episode of Ahsoka, which they all seem to have, part 1 with the title, part 2 with the title. Today's episode is part 8, but there wasn't a title. So I don't know how I feel about that. But I haven't seen it yet, so no spoilers. I don't know if I'm going to get to watch it before this comes out tomorrow. I might not get to watch it until tomorrow after work, which kind of stinks, but that's the way it is. What else is going on? Hey, it is the month of October, which means our Highway 47 Halloween specials will be out. We have a whole month of Halloween specials, and we are excited about them. We've planned these Halloween specials out almost a year ago. Some of these we had figured out what we were going to watch before we even finished last year's Halloween specials. And we are excited to do that. This week will be our first Friday public domain movie, and it is of the Halloween variety. It is called The Wasp Woman, and it is an exciting movie that I didn't watch because I was not there for that recording session, because I had to, as it's been said in previous recordings, I am a musician, and our recording nights are Friday nights, and there are many Friday nights where I will be performing somewhere, and it happens. I was actually out of state this particular Friday evening, and I was not able to participate in the recording of it, but fear not, I did record in, so far, we've recorded 3 of the 4. We still have 1 yet to do, but the plan is to do that this Friday, and it is planned that I will be there. So this week is The Wasp Woman. Next week, we watched the Jordan Peele movie Us, which is, last year we watched Get Out. This year we watch Us. And I suppose next year we'll watch Nope. We also, and much to many of our dismay, watched the film Tusk for the 3rd week, and we will have a surprise movie for the last week of October. It's kind of in theme with what we watched last year, so if you go back and see what we watched last year, maybe you can guess what our 4th and final film of the month of October will be. Leave a message in the comments if you think you know. What else is going on in space news? So, last week they took off the hot stage ring from Starship, but they have promptly returned it to the top of the stack. I don't remember if they did that before last week's episode, because I was kind of like losing my sanity last week. But anyway, Starship has now been fully stacked again. I don't remember if that happened before last week's episode either. But we are back to a full stack. We still don't have a definitive launch date. I think Elon was going to post something out, including the possible launch date, but, you know, Elon time is not always congruent with actual time. But heading over to look at the NASA space flight. Ooh, before I do that, let's see. That was me just zooming out, trying to figure out where I am and which way I need to go, because I'm coming up to the point where I'm going to have to head back towards the coast. But there are some rocks I need to drive around first before I do that. And this is a kind of a tricky spot because I don't want to get too close to those rocky hills before I start heading that way, but I don't want to go too far out of my way before I start doing that, because eventually, if I go straight the way I'm going right now, I'm going to run into a mountain range. But if I head towards the coast before I've cleared those rocks, I will go through some very difficult to drive through, possibly crash type terrain. So I have to actually kind of pay attention and not just drive in a straight line. Even though seems like that would make more sense. And it has gotten dark. But the good news is that even though it has gotten dark and my photovoltaic panels aren't generating any electricity right now, my RTGs are plenty sufficient to recharge or keep my batteries mostly charged, especially since there seem to be more hills, and when I'm going up and down, it seems like I'm not using nearly as much electricity, even though that doesn't quite make sense. I know I can coast more, and I'm also keeping my speed down a little bit too. So that all helps that I don't run out of electricity. Because if it's just flat land, as once I get on the ice sheet, that will become a issue. But anyway, as I was saying before, I headed over to NASA Spaceflight's live feed of Boca Chica, and it says, full stack on the pad, work continuing on the factory building, road delay for October 4th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And I can see that there is a lift where they are working on the OLM. Here I'm just zooming out, kind of trying to see where I'm at on the planet and which direction I should go. And right now I'm kind of turned away because I have to get around these rocks. Yeah. So, reusable space program. The most recent episode did not come out on Monday, and that's my fault. I have recorded it. I edited it. I just did not have time to do a voiceover. I had planned on, well, I had planned on doing it Sunday, but after my, I'm a musician, as I said, and I work at a church, and I had my church gig that morning. I came home and did all my recording and editing, and I did not have time to do the voiceover because I have 2 young children also, and we were doing actual rocket science. And by actual rocket science, I mean we were launching some model rockets, which I'd been promising them I would do all week. And we actually went out Friday to do it, but the field that we normally launch in, there was a soccer game, and they probably would not have appreciated launching rockets during a soccer game. So we didn't get to do that. We went on a walk instead, and they were very understanding. And that's kind of what happened. And then we had dinner at my sister and brother-in-law's house Saturday night, so we weren't able to launch rockets then. So Sunday was the time, and actually Sunday is probably the best evening to go launch rockets, and we wait till the evening where there isn't really that much wind, and there weren't hardly anybody out at the park at that time on that day, so it was the best situation, and the weather was very nice, and we were able to launch the rockets. They brought one of their friends from school, and they watched. We only got 3 launches in this time, And that's because we have run out of igniters. But 2 of the rockets had minor crashes, nothing serious, nothing that can't be repaired. And then the last rocket went off pretty much without a hitch, which was the one I didn't think, which is the one I thought would actually have the biggest hitch. But anyway, here we are. We have driven our prerequisite amount of time and hopefully made a nice dent in our journey towards the South Pole. We will let the batteries recharge on the Rover train, and we will set off next week, continuing our journey. I'm hoping over the next month we will make it to the ice sheet, and that will be it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.